Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for a video type I've not done for a while. I've actually got a guest with me on the channel, someone who you guys know that I deeply hate with a passion, a bit of a scumbag of all scumbags. PIKA, how you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm happy and glad to be here. It's an honor to be with another scumbag dude with me that I love and admire so much with passion of hate.
Mate, obviously I'm kidding on there, as you know,
Yeah.
but there seems to be this unresiding rumour that we hate each other. I wonder how that developed, eh? But anyway,
Oh
let's move
yeah.
on. Let's move on and let's not broach that subject. But I have got Pika here today because I actually recorded this video earlier and then I was chatting to Pika and I thought, you know what? Maybe it'll be useful to get someone else's perspective on the feelings that I've had, because you know what, sometimes I can be a bit opinionated and maybe I don't always think of the wider player base. So I've not told Pika what we're going to talk about. He's going to hear about it now and we're going to talk about it. So I think the most ideal place to start would probably be the anniversary that wasn't. Okay, we didn't have an anniversary. I don't know if you noticed that. We had this massive countdown building up to our 1.5 year anniversary that ended to nothing, which is not how countdowns work. And there was a large portion of the player base that had a little bit of copium that maybe today we would have got the cake event and got our VIP reset and stuff like that. And lo and behold, we have got nothing. I think it's awful. I think it's terrible. But what do you think?
Well, I was one of these people that had the same copium, and I was advocating for it that it will happen. Actually, went on many of my videos and months ago, and I said, "Oh, the countdown will start. We're gonna get the 50% divination. It will be happy. We're gonna get rewarded. This is the best reward you can give for the player base." And I was telling everybody, "Don't lose hope. Maybe after a week, maybe after 2 weeks. Who knows? We're gonna get it." And I still have this kind of, call me stupid, but I still have a belief that they might give us a divination 50% soon. I don't know. Maybe it will not happen, but I don't know. Maybe it's the copium. I still have belief that they might give us that. And it's so sad that they didn't after the countdown. And yeah, logically talking, just like you said, getting a countdown for absolutely getting nothing. Now, we appreciate so much. Thank you for all of these tickets and summons that you gave us. But the previous events or the previous countdowns that you gave us for half years anniversaries came up with a bigger thing, which is the cream your cake. And
Well,
it was awesome,
well,
actually.
well. Funnily enough, I know that obviously you're kind of focusing on the half price divination there, and I do believe at some point we'll get a half price divination. Like God knows when, but they'll do it
Yeah.
again. I fully expect it to be another mid-tier unit or a poor unit. I don't think they'll. I honestly do not think they will ever give us a good unit in half price divination. They're just not going to do that, right? But I feel like half price divination is only part of what we missed out on. Like, 'cause the thing about the anniversary and the cake event is when you do your fighting memories, you got a starlight for free, right? So when you go through the little book and it tells you about how long you played the game, what many stages you've got, your highest
Exactly.
score, at the end of reading that, just doing nothing, you get a free
And
starlight,
the
right?
reset for the VIP. Don't forget the
That
reset for
was
the VIP.
you cut me off. That's what I was about to say, right? So they reset the VIP, which is a benefit to all players, right? But I mentioned this
Yep.
on my first video when I spoke about the fact that the countdown led to nothing, right? And this is not an introverted, selfish thing, right? But they set a precedent that I actually said on the 1 year anniversary leading up to it, people were saying they'll do the reset of the VIP, and I'm like, whoa. I says they done that the first time because they were resetting the packs of what you could buy. They were changing what was in the packs. I said, so there's no guarantee they'll do it. But then they did it. They did it, lo and behold, they did it, right? So they at that point set an expectation that you're going to get your VIP reset, right? And
Yeah.
I didn't do it, but I very nearly pushed on to my next VIP level just so that I could have got the rewards from my VIP and then I'd have got it reset and I'd have got them again, right? I didn't do it. Thank God I didn't do it, right? But the thing that I think that's pretty bad is they've really screwed over their whales, right? And I know you're not someone that usually thinks of that, but when it comes to the health of the game and stuff like that, unfortunately, it's just how it is. Those are the people who you need to keep happy and who you need to cater to.
Yes.
And those players were expecting a hell of a lot of reset rewards from VIP. Now, obviously, lower players who don't spend as much would also have got decent rewards, but it scales up, do you know what I mean? And that's a lot of people that were expecting to get quite a lot that got absolutely nothing. And the issue I've got with it is they, as in the developers, they are the ones who created this expectation, right? Now, not only that, you also, with every one of these events, whether it was that stupid follow the scent event, the one where Guy ended up being the bad guy, or the following time when it was Witch Jury, there was another event. Those mini events gave you resources. They had stuff with them.
They add up. Yeah.
The cake, every time you pressed on the cake, you got stuff. Not only that, there was the 5 players out there who still wish they had bought Flame Chun-Li. They were expecting all the legends to go on sale at half price. Because again, that's what they've done the whole time. In fact, Chun-Li, they've now established they were going to put her down lower, right? They never done any of that. And I don't understand that. I mean, to be honest, the legends are the biggest surprise because that's them making money. I don't know. I'm actually shocked that never happened for that reason. But I find it hard to believe that they, at first, done this on purpose. I know that sounds stupid, right? But the reason I say that is because the Look event, which we'll talk about in a minute, right? The Look event was not an anniversary event, okay? Yes,
no, it wasn't.
Yes, if you look at your screen before you load the game, you'll see a picture of Look, and underneath it will say 1.5 year anniversary, okay? It does say that on the icon, but nowhere within the game was there any anniversary branding, right? And when Look launched, we still had a week to go on the countdown, right? Now,
okay. About the Look, let me stop you here before you continue. If I come to your birthday, you have a birthday party, and you dropped a birthday party, and we came and said happy birthday, but there's no cake. You're gonna tell me, but this is the party. This is me. Luke is the party. This is the party. But where's the cake? We expect a cake. We expect drinks. We expect.
I was going to say, you might have brought a bottle of vodka or something, and it would have been like, right, okay, yeah. That's fine. You don't need to necessarily bring cake. You know what I mean? I don't think ultimately anyone cares about the cake. You know, they just want the rewards. They could have repackaged it. They could have changed it. It could have been a firework display that, you know what I mean? Each day you clicked it and you built up a big stock of fireworks, and then at the end of it, they would go off, you know, as some kind of animation. They could have reworked it. They didn't actually have to do the cake thing again, right? But I get what you're saying. But my issue with Look is, if Look was intended to be the anniversary unit, then why in God's name did they not start the countdown 1 week earlier so that it ended the day that Look came out? Because all they did was keep this level of expectation that week 2 of that event, there was going to be something else, right? Now again, maybe countdowns work differently in China. I don't actually think it was called a countdown. I think it was called a build-up, a 28-day build-up or something like that. But either way, it's still a build-up, a countdown. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? You're either building up to something or you're counting down to something. The key element there is something at the end of it, okay? And we literally had nothing at the end of it. And I would say that it was more than a disappointment. It was stupidity. Honestly, it was.
Do you know why I just got disappointed? The main reason I was believing 100%, I was sure 100% that we're gonna get the cake and we're gonna get the VIP reset, we're gonna get a 30%, and we're gonna get the divination. Because on SEA server, which is not related to us, but it's the same game, the same developers, they got the cake, they got the VIP reset, they got these. So I was like, oh, so it's coming up for us next. And they have it as a half-year anniversary. And it's not a half year for them. I don't think that SEA was broke for 4 or 5 months.
Not only that, with the cake, they actually rolled Look into that. If you actually look at their splash screen, you've got the cake in the middle, and at the left-hand side, you've got a picture leading to Look's summon. So they actually 100%. Made the effort to then tie Look into it. But above that, you've got like the Gates of Glory or whatever it's called, where they could go and do these other things.
The guy event.
The thing I was talking about, where you can go, you do mini bosses, there's rewards for the bosses, there's stages. There's a lot of rewards left on the table. I mean, me as someone who there was me as someone who either, I would say 90 to 95% of the time I come first, right? But if not first, I'm second. Maybe on the odd outlier, if I can't be bothered, I'm third, right? So I always get special summon tickets. So I can only talk about me, right? But that's 3 bosses. It's around about 60 special summon tickets that were completely missing. Plus the Starlight. There was a lot of resources missed. And I don't know, it made no sense to me. And if Look was intended to be the anniversary unit, this is a segue. Why was the look event so mediocre? Right now, usually, I think every collab unit. I could be wrong here, but I've got a feeling it was every collab unit. I actually think it is every collab unit. Every collab unit had an actual change to the core gameplay. They had, like, you would go through a portal. Every one of them.
Story mode.
You would go, yes.
They had a story mode.
Every single one of them, right? Look had a bog standard event, but they took the new Constellarium, or whatever the hell they're calling it. They took that and they tacked it into a standard event. But
no, actually nothing changed. They just redo another event that we had before. They didn't give a story.
Yeah.
Like the DMC had a story, TMNT had the story, even Ken had a story.
Yep.
We got a different type of system, different bosses. All of them had new bosses. We got Summer Ibuki, we got Goken, we got the same bosses that we fought back then, repeated.
Yep.
That's what happened.
And this is the thing. Not only did we repeat the same bosses who had the same, because like
they nerfed the prizes, by the way.
Day one, I was like, oh, Ibuki's annoying. And then I remembered, oh, wait a minute, if I just use Zangief, I can get loads of points against Ibuki. And I was like, I've done this before, you know? And very quickly, I was like, wait a minute, this is exactly the same. And then people will have noticed this when it came to guides. I always put out, because of the puzzle, I always put out a guide for the boxes and that. But I might have mentioned it during my first video. I was convinced during my first video doing part 1 that the puzzle had been done before, but then it became apparent to me that on part 2 and part 3, they were actually rehashing the puzzles. So not only are they now repeating the same event structure over and over, which we've been asking them to change for God knows how long, right? They are now actually taking the little bits of originality they had. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the puzzles, right? But that aside, they were at least the only original thing within the actual whole event. They're now just reusing them from other events, which I don't think is good enough, right? And what I'm kind of wanting to say directly to the developers, and I know former staffers claim they don't watch our videos, but I think that's bupkiss. I don't believe half the things that person told me. But the thing that I want to say, and I want to know if you agree with or not, we've needed to change the event structure for a while, right? Plain and simply, everyone is in agreement with that, right? I've kind of said, okay, well, it's the rewards, the bosses are at least different, there's something a bit more to it. If they have now reached a point where they need to actually straight up reuse bosses and not change them, and reuse assets for like puzzles and stuff, now is definitively the time they have to do something to rework what they do for events. Because if they are now just going to go on a spree of rehashing, like quite literally copy pasting, not changing anything, and just using it again, we have reached a point where we need different content. They can't just. I
have an idea. If they do it to bosses event, when we told them we need a change in bosses event, what they did is insert another team. Like instead of 3 teams, 4 teams, then 5 teams. This is not what we wanted to change. Like something like give us an event. A new character dropped. Let's say this banquet guy is dropping soon, or Guile. So we have him. Using, let's say, T-Hawk on your team will give you a buff of shields. Using, let's say, Cammy, normal Cammy, will give you more damage if she does damage. Dalsim, stuff like that. Don't tell me, like, Banquet Guile, use him on the team, he'll double his damage. Because then you need people, you're forcing them to buy it. No, use these kind of things. Like these things that you do, creating a new team. If you use Fire Aidon, let's say he will deal 80% less damage. You're forcing the players to create different teams.
Yeah, but
they've
tried that though. Have you not noticed they've actually tried to nerf in a few bosses before? They've tried to nerf how much damage you can do with Fire Aidon, and you know what? He still ends up being the highest damaging team, even with like an 80% reduction in flame damage. He was still the highest scoring team. So I don't think they know how to deal with it, and I think they've given up, which is disappointing, right? And I'll say this bluntly, I've said this before, people hate it, right? People do hate it. And yes, I spoke to you about it already. Chun-Li does enable the extremely high amounts of damage, right? But the fact is, Fire Aidon's designed in a way that every single hit, he increases his own damage output, he decreases the enemy's damage reduction or resistance or whatever it is. He constantly makes himself stronger. They designed a character idiotically. He's a badly designed character. He's a good character for players, but if you look at him from a design point of view, he's a badly designed character, right? He is so many aspects of his kit is just broken in the realms of this game. And honestly, I know you hate me saying this, if you take Chun-Li out and no one's got Chun-Li, people are still scoring high using your damage reduction off of your Honda, do your buff off of your poison, do whatever for your C2 and run your Adon. People are still going to run that team, still going to be the highest damage team.
I'm free to play. I agree.
The only way
I do that.
The only way that they could actually fix it, and this is where people hate me, is realistically they should have nerfed Adon. They should have. I mean, I'm speaking facts. I'm not telling them to do it, but it's the only way they could have fixed the problem because they can't fix the problem. They don't know how to balance the game with Adon in it. And that means you should have really have dealt with this months ago and dealt with Adon, right? I'm not calling for a nerf. It's too late now, right? It's far too late now. But realistically, they nerfed him on, or they will nerf him on SEA. SEA are not going to get that Adon. 100% they are not going to get that Adon. They're going to fix their, they are going to fix their mistakes and they will get an Adon that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And they've learned from us. But that just tells me they should have nerfed him for us. But anyway, that aside, so you agree, obviously, that they do need to do something to mix up the events. Now, I just want to quickly touch on this. Guys, PIKA might disagree here. I would not get your hopes up too much for Guile, because I think there's a strong chance that Guile will be a legendary. Because the reason I say that is because they're not going to drop another divination unit. They might give them for free, but it seems highly unlikely because we don't usually get free units that quickly. There's usually like 2-3 months in between them. They don't fall that fast. But there is another caveat. We have Summer Yun who is outstanding, and there's very limited time for him to come out that makes sense. So even though it's not in the notes, I've got a feeling that next week they're probably going to drop Summer Yun as a free unit, and Guile, I think he's going to be a legendary. So I don't get your hopes up too much on him. It's just a feeling, I could be wrong, but I think that's probably what's going to happen. We'll see how it plays out. I'm just putting that in while we're talking about it. So
yeah, maybe.
While talking about events, so you obviously agree that events need to get fixed, essentially. On the video that I deleted earlier, something else that I mentioned, and again, it's been bugging me, and I think that the devs need to do something about this. They need to stop drip feeding us towers, right? Towers, we never know when they're going to fix this goddamn artificial wall, right? If I'm to go into a tower just now, you can't see my screen, but if you watch this video back later, you'll see it, right? If I go to the Supreme Fist, and I attempt to challenge this stage, I need to be level 991. Sorry, I need a power level of 991 million, right? I'm on level 541, and to even challenge this stage, I need to have almost 1 billion power in a single team, and that's because of this artificial wall. And as it stands, we never know when they're going to change this, right? So,
and it's kind of impossible. It's ridiculous, the power gap between it and between you.
What I actually call for is a schedule. I don't see why they can't add stages to this every 2 months. You know what I mean? Even if you're only putting in 10 stages, 20 stages at a time, I don't see why we have to just be at a whim of, I wonder when they're going to drop this. Because it's been months. I don't know quite how long it's been, but it's been actual months. It's been probably in excess of 4 months, maybe 5 months. I do not know. But just stuff like this, I don't see why they decide we're going to drip feed the content to these guys.
Even if they want to make it slowly, you don't need, like, for me, I beat the tower. I'm at 180 million, I think, my team. And the new team that I need to develop to beat the tower is at 290 million. And I'm like, there's no way I will double my team power in like 6 months. There's no way. Like, why? It's not like, 5 million power difference. Yeah. Then it will take me maybe 2 weeks, let's say a week, maybe to upgrade. Yeah, I mean, they can do it like this and give us slowly towers progression, like adding 5 more floors, 10 more floors. Like, this will be reasonable. But to just block you off, if you drop $1 million on your account, you're not going to gain 1 million power.
That is literally what I was about to say to you there, was quite literally, hang on 2 seconds, don't go anywhere. PIKA, 2 seconds. I'm probably going to need to edit that bit. My wife's name pops up, so I'll probably just blank that out. If you see a random blank bit appearing on the screen, guys, it's because my wife decided to phone me at the exact point. I'm about to wrap this up anyway, PIKA, because if I don't, she'll chew my balls off for not phoning her back. But what I was going to say as well is, with regards to story, I feel like story is the same. Chapters, they're artificially inflated as well. You know, it's like, I guess they don't want people to proceed. I don't know why. I don't think it's hard to make content. I mean, especially for stuff like stages, because let's be honest, they throw a couple of random teams together and it's right, okay, beat this, use 5 teams, use 4 teams, use 3 teams, whatever. And I just feel like Endgame doesn't have a lot to offer. So with the fact that the game is so old now and we get so few new players, most people are either in Endgame or bobbing around Endgame. I think they should start to bring a bit more focus onto that. So whether that's going into your World Expeditions or whatever it's called, and finally make Coming Soon actually be a statement that means something, or adding in sub chapters, whatever they want to do. You know, maybe they relaunch, even add a hard mode to challenge, so you can go back to stage 1, but it's on, like, I don't mean New Game Plus, but a hard mode, you know, so that way before you get to chapter 40 odds, it's already started to get difficult for you.
Yeah, you can start a hard mode on chapter 1 till chapter 20, maybe, something like that. You know, that would be awesome.
You've got this in games like, I don't know if AFK Arena did it, but I know there's a lot of games where you can do most of it and then you'll look and it'll say to you, why not challenge the story again in elite mode or difficult, and you get higher rewards, but it is a lot more difficult, you know. Stuff like that. You don't even need to make a lot of new content to actually give people more content to do. And
you know what's the most thing that's annoying me? The only thing that is annoying me is the global operation. We have the inverse world, we have the trial grounds. They didn't add anything from the start of the game till now for the trial grounds. Not reset it, just reset the rewards, give different rewards. I don't know what to do. Inverse world, add another map, add another custom map, like in AFK Arena. If you understand, do you know the game of Vampire Survivors? They added that theme. They added Candy Crush theme.
I've got 100%. I've got 100% of the achievements in Vampire Survivors on Steam. I love that game.
I love that game,
mate. It does my head in because they keep releasing updates and my completion goes from 100%. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop adding things. And then you go back again and play it. I love Survivors games. I've got 46 different Survivor games for my Legion Go. I can play them constantly. If you're looking for a good one, side anyone who likes Vampire Survivors who's watching this video, there's a game on Steam. It's called Nordic Ashes. It's very good. If you like Vampire Survivors, you'll like it. I think it's better than Vampire Survivors, but give it a go. PIKA, write that down. Nordic Ashes, very good game.
Okay.
But no, what I was going to say, just to finish this video off, we'll finish it in a bit of a joke, and that is the fact that they give us no content for Anniversary. They basically forget the anniversary actually exists outside of a countdown. Today, everyone was expecting something. We got nothing, except we got a discount store where you can spend £50 to get yourself a new EX move. And it's not even that good. So
it's not good. It's not good. If you're gonna pay money for it, I highly tell you, don't do that. It's not good at all. There's nothing for it to offer. It doesn't do anything.
If it had speed, maybe. But $50 or £50, it's a straight conversion. We get robbed in the UK. PIKA's probably the same. It's probably like €50 or 50, €60 or whatever. But I think it's a bit of a slap in the face. This video might have come across as overly negative. That's because I'm hoping that the devs actually look at it and they hear that I'm not the only person that thinks these things.
It's what we feel. We're players. Forget that we're content creators. We're players, just like the other players. And I feel that the game, like, I'm enjoying the game, but sometimes it feels like lackluster. I need something new.
100%.
That's it.
100%. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to go because my wife's going to kick my balls for no phone on her back. PIKA, thanks for joining me on this one. And
thank you for having me.
You say bye-bye.
Okay. Stay safe, guys. Thank you for having me, Hayzink. It's a pleasure to do that, and I hope that we get back on some more videos.
Aye, we will do, mate, because I hate you. I'll see you later, mate. See you later on. Bye-bye.